All right, let's dive into another deep dive. Today we're going deep with Flow Jiu-Jitsu, a book that's all about, well, going beyond just the moves. Like, how do you get that mind-body connection to really perform your best?
It's really interesting. The book ties that flow state, that feeling when you're totally in the zone. Everything's effortless to something as demanding as jujitsu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
You usually hear about flow with artists or musicians, not really with grappling. So for those listening who haven't experienced it, what's flow actually feel like on the mat?
Okay, picture this. You're rolling, and all of a sudden things just click. Everything's fluid, it's instinct. You're not thinking about each move. You're just reacting, countering everything they throw at you, no problem. And time, it gets kind of weird, like it stretches out. You're just completely in that moment. That's flow.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds amazing. And the book even tells a story, an experienced jujitsu person who said their body literally knew the counter before they consciously thought about it. It's like their training just took over, instinct and skill all blended.
Totally. That's it. That's how flow elevates your game. But here's the thing the book stresses. Flow isn't magic. You don't just have it or not. You got to set the stage for it.
Okay, so what's that stage look like? What do we actually do to get that flow going in our own jujitsu?
It comes down to challenge and skill. Got to find the sweet spot. Too easy, you get bored. Too hard, you're overwhelmed. But when it's just right, that's where the magic is. Like Goldilocks finding that perfect porridge.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially in jujitsu, right?
Yeah.
We need to be pushed, but not so much that we freak out. The book also talks about goals and getting feedback right away. How does that tie into flow?
Clear goals, they're your roadmap. They focus your energy. And the feedback from yourself or your partner helps you adjust right there in the moment. It's like you're fine-tuning your flow with every move.
So it's not just going through the motions, it's being aware, engaged, always adapting. But the book goes deeper than just technique, right? It
Yeah.
says our jujitsu can be a mirror showing us our mental and emotional state. How so?
It's amazing how what's going on inside shows up in our movement. Feeling hesitant, scared, you might get stiff, overthinking. There goes the flow. But if you're confident, centered, bam, your jujitsu flows too.
The book had this example of someone who felt tight in their chest when they were in a vulnerable spot. Like maybe that physical feeling's connected to a fear of being controlled.
Bingo. By paying attention to our body's signals, we get clues about deeper stuff. The mat becomes a place for self-awareness as much as physical training.
I like that jujitsu giving us feedback beyond just, did I do the move right? But we got to be honest, flow isn't always easy. The book talks about roadblocks too. What kind of things mess with our flow?
So many things. One is wanting everything to be perfect. That pressure, that judgment, it kills flow. Another is getting too hung up on winning. You fixate on the goal, you miss the fun of the journey.
Right. If you're too attached to winning, you're tense, anxious, which blocks you up. It's
Yeah.
like forcing a river to go where you want instead of letting it flow naturally.
Exactly. And the book warns about ego-driven training too. If you're all about proving yourself, comparing yourself, well, that just breeds competition, not growth.
So it's about internal satisfaction, not external validation. Enjoying the process, the learning.
It's about falling in love with practice. That daily commitment to stepping on the mat and pushing yourself to be just a little bit better, more present, more in tune with yourself.
The book also says we got to expand that flow idea beyond just jujitsu, like that presence, adapting, surrendering. That helps us in life too, with all its challenges.
Imagine the mat as a little version of life, and flow, that's your compass, leading you through it all. It's learning to trust that compass, to go with the flow, knowing that even when things are chaotic, there's a rhythm to it all.
That's a powerful image.
Right.
So flow isn't just something you achieve, it's already in you. It's how you move through the world.
And Flow Jiu-Jitsu, with its focus on being present, adapting, connecting, it helps you tap into that flow on and off the mat.
Now, the book talks a lot about the flow role and how it's not a solo thing. It's about partnership. How does another person change the flow experience?
Flow in Jiu-Jitsu, it's co-created. It's two people interacting. The flow role becomes this dance, a conversation. You're exploring movement and energy together.
Like a dialogue, back and forth, everyone contributing to this harmonious, dynamic flow. The book even has this story about two training partners, total opposites, size, strength, experience, everything. But through flow rolling, they connected deeply and became great friends.
It shows you the power of embracing differences, right? Through Jiu-Jitsu, they went beyond those differences and connected on a deeper level, helping each other learn and grow.
It reminds us that jiu-jitsu, at its core, it's about connection, building bridges, finding community.
The book says you got to come to the flow role with that collaborative spirit, not a competitive one. It's working together to create something enjoyable where everyone benefits.
So the flow role becomes a practice in empathy, communication, respect, stuff that matters way beyond jiu-jitsu.
It's recognizing that we're all connected and that by helping each other, we all benefit. The mat becomes a little society, a place to practice those essential skills.
The book makes some interesting comparisons between flow jiu-jitsu and Buddhist teachings. Both emphasize being present, accepting things, and letting go of the ego. Can you unpack that a bit?
Both are about being in the moment, aware. In Buddhism, it's called mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts, feelings without judging. In Flow Jiu-Jitsu, you're fully present, tuned in to your body, your breath, what your partner's doing.
So you're quieting the mind and just experiencing what's happening right now.
Right. And both are about accepting things. In Buddhism, you accept what is without clinging to what you want or pushing away what you don't. In Flow Jiu-Jitsu, that means accepting your skill level, your mistakes, and not obsessing over winning or losing.
Letting go of the need to control everything, trusting the process.
Exactly. And both talk about detaching from the ego. Buddhism says the ego is just a construct, an illusion. It causes suffering. Flow Jiu-Jitsu says let go of proving yourself, winning at all costs. Just play for the love of it. Find fulfillment in the journey, not just the destination.
So both are about moving beyond the ego, tapping into a deeper sense of self.
The book calls it a journey of self-discovery, a path to realizing our full potential as human beings. It's using jiu-jitsu to wake up, to become more present, more compassionate, more wise.
Now, the book even brings in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that psychology thing. It uses it to explain why people train jiu-jitsu. Can you break down how that works?
Maslow's hierarchy, it's like a pyramid, right? It shows the different levels of human needs, starting with basic stuff like food, water, shelter, then going up to things like safety, belonging, esteem, and at the top, self-actualization.
Okay, so how does that pyramid fit with our experience on the mat?
At the bottom, basic survival. In jiu-jitsu, that's physical safety. You got to feel safe to learn.
Yeah.
Trust your partners, your instructors, learn to protect yourself.
Right, makes sense. Once you're not worried about getting hurt, you can move on to the next level.
Exactly. The next level is safety and security. In jiu-jitsu, that's feeling emotionally safe in the training environment. Safe enough to take risks, try new things, mess up without being judged.
So you need a supportive environment where everyone feels comfortable pushing themselves.
Then, further up, there's the need for belonging and love. Jiu-jitsu creates a strong community. People from all walks of life come together, connect, and help each other grow. That camaraderie fulfills that need for connection.
Like finding your tribe, people who get you and support you.
And as you train and improve, you start fulfilling the esteem needs. That's competence, achievement, recognition. In jiu-jitsu, maybe that's earning stripes or belts, winning competitions, or just feeling proud of your progress.
Feeling good about your skills and getting recognition from others.
And finally, at the very top, self-actualization. Fulfilling your potential, becoming the best version of yourself. Jiu-jitsu, with its focus on self-discovery, discipline, perseverance, it can be a powerful path to that.
Using jiu-jitsu to grow as a person, to become more resilient, courageous, self-aware.
Maslow's hierarchy helps us understand ourselves and other jiu-jitsu people. We see what drives us, and we can create a better, more supportive environment for everyone.
It reminds us we're all on a journey. Each path is different. And by respecting those differences, everyone benefits.
The book then gets really interesting. It talks about the body as a portal to deeper self-understanding. It says jiu-jitsu, with its focus on movement, breath, posture, can be like a moving meditation. It helps us understand our mental and emotional patterns.
That body as a portal idea is fascinating. How does jiu-jitsu give us insight into what's going on inside?
Our bodies are always talking to us, giving us feedback about our thoughts, emotions, how we're doing overall. And jiu-jitsu, with all its movement and intensity, it amplifies that feedback loop. You become super aware of your body, your breath, your posture, your energy. Pay attention to those subtle cues, and you learn a lot about your mental and emotional state.
The book mentions breathing techniques and posture adjustments that can actually change how you feel inside, like bringing more calmness and focus to your training. Can you give some examples? Like, how can we use jiu-jitsu for better body awareness and mental clarity?
Sure. One is diaphragmatic breathing. Instead of shallow chest breathing, you breathe deep and slow, expanding your belly. That calms you down, reduces anxiety, and helps you relax and focus.
I can see how that would be useful, especially when things get intense during a roll. Deep breathing helps you stay calm, think clearly, and react better.
Exactly. Another one is posture. Good posture, straight spine, open chest. It helps you breathe better, improves circulation, and makes you feel more confident. Slouching, on the other hand, restricts breathing, creates tension, and makes you feel tired and insecure. So, by paying attention to your posture on the mat, you train yourself to have better posture in everyday life.
So you're bringing that awareness from jiu-jitsu into your daily life, using the physical practice to improve your body awareness, mental clarity, emotional balance.
The book calls jujitsu a moving meditation, a practice that connects your body, mind, and spirit. Through conscious practice, you can connect more deeply with yourself and unlock your full potential.
The book goes even further, though, right? It says we need to look beyond the mind to see that even our thoughts and emotions aren't our true essence.
It introduces the concept of the ego. It says the ego is a mental construct built from your experiences and conditioning. It creates a sense of separation and limits your ability to fully experience flow.
Like our ego is this separate thing that's always chattering, judging, trying to control everything, and it kind of messes with that effortless flow state.
The book offers a counterpoint to the ego, the silent observer. That's the unchanging awareness that witnesses all your thoughts, emotions, sensations without judging or getting attached.
So it's like there's this deeper part of us always there watching the show. And if we can tap into that silent observer, we can detach from our ego and experience more peace and freedom.
The silent observer is that part of you that's always present, always aware, even when your thoughts and emotions are going crazy. It's the witness, the silent backdrop to everything you experience.
So how do we tap into that silent observer? How do we cultivate that deeper awareness when our minds are so noisy?
The book suggests practices like meditation, mindfulness, and even jujitsu. It's about learning to observe your thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them, like watching a movie without getting lost in the plot.
So you're detaching from your thoughts and emotions, recognizing that they're not who you are, but just temporary things that come and go.
Exactly. The book describes it as stepping back from the content of your experience and tapping into that silent observer, that awareness that's always present.
This is where things get really interesting. The book doesn't just stop at the silent observer, it goes even deeper, questioning the nature of reality itself.
It asks if the separation between the observer and the observed is actually an illusion. Like, what if we dissolve that duality, that feeling of me separate from the world? What if everything is just consciousness expressing itself in different ways?
This is where things get mind-bending. It's like our normal way of seeing the world, this separate me experiencing that, starts to break down. We start to see that everything is connected, coming from the same source.
The book uses the analogy of a wave in the ocean. The wave seems separate, but it's just water, an expression of the ocean. In the same way, we may seem separate, but ultimately we're all expressions of the same consciousness.
So Flow Jiu-Jitsu, at its deepest level, is a path to awakening, a way to go beyond the ego and experience this connection directly. It's realizing that you are pure consciousness, beyond all the illusions of separation.
Exactly. It's recognizing that peace, freedom, joy, it's not something you need to achieve, it's already in you. Flow Jiu-Jitsu just helps remove the obstacles, the mental and emotional clutter that blocks you from seeing that.
Wow, that's powerful. And it feels like we've just scratched the surface of this Flow Jiu-Jitsu thing.
Yeah.
There's so much more to explore, so many techniques and exercises.
In the next part of our deep dive, we'll get into the practical applications. We'll explore specific exercises from the book that help develop presence, adaptability, fluidity on and off the mat.
Sounds good. We'll be back soon with more from Flow Jiu-Jitsu. Until then, keep practicing, exploring, and flowing. Back again for more Flow Jiu-Jitsu. Last time, we got into the theory behind flow, how it works in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, we talked about finding that balance between being challenged but not overwhelmed, setting goals, getting feedback right away.
And even got a little philosophical with the silent observer and how everything's connected.
Right on. So let's switch gears now. The book's got some cool exercises and techniques for actually building flow into your training. Want to dive into those?
For sure, let's get practical. There's this one called the eyes closed flow roll. It sounded kind of wild. What's the point of that? How's it work?
It's a great way to get more aware, tap into your intuition. You take away sight, rely more on touch, pressure, how the energy's moving.
So you're not seeing what your partner's going to do, you're feeling it.
Exactly. You become more sensitive, picking up those tiny cues from their body. And by closing your eyes, you naturally go inward, focus more, less mental chatter.
So that helps with the silent observer we talked about. Less distraction, more tuned in to what's happening inside.
The book says it can make you more connected to your partner, too. You
Huh.
communicate on this deeper level, moving together more smoothly.
Like a secret language, beyond words or even seeing.
Imagine dancers moving perfectly together, responding to each other without even thinking. That's the kind of connection you can get with eyes closed rolling.
That's wild. But I can see how it'd make your jiu-jitsu more intuitive.
Start slow with it, gradually spend more time with eyes closed. Important to have a partner you trust, a safe space to explore.
Okay, another one that caught my eye. Flow roll with attack and defense switching. What's that all about? How's it different from regular sparring?
Usually when you spar, there's that focus on winning, on submitting your opponent. But with this switching thing, it's about being smooth and adaptable, going from offense to defense seamlessly.
So instead of trying to crush them, you're working together, creating this balanced flow.
Right, like a dance, taking turns, leading and following, attacking and defending. Maybe you set a timer. 1 minute you're attacking, they're defending, then you switch.
That's cool. So you're becoming well-rounded, good at both sides.
And more than that, it's mental flexibility. You consciously switch roles, you break out of old habits, you learn to go with the flow, adapt to whatever your partner throws at you, find creative solutions.
I bet that's super helpful for competition. In a tournament, you got to think fast, adapt to your opponent, seize opportunities to attack or defend.
The book says those transitions got to be smooth, effortless, don't get stuck in one mode. It's about mental agility, staying present and responsive no matter what.
Makes sense. We've talked about physical agility, mental agility. There's also one about breathing, flow roll, synchronized with breathing. What's the deal with that?
This one's all about being aware of your breath, moving with it. Inhale, maybe start a technique or transition. Exhale, let the movement finish naturally.
Connecting your actions to your breath makes it more harmonious.
Exactly. And when you focus on your breath, you're also being more present. It's like an anchor, pulling you back to the moment, quieting your mind.
Yeah, I can see that helping with nerves or tension that blocks the flow.
And get this, the book says syncing your breath with your partner can create this amazing connection, like you're literally breathing and moving together.
Wow, powerful stuff. Like moving meditation, breath connecting you.
No right or wrong way to do it. Play around with different breathing patterns. Find what works for you. Be playful. Be curious. See how your breath affects your movement and your mind.
These exercises, they all seem to highlight the idea of having a beginner's mind, being open to learning. Why is that so important for flow?
A beginner's mind, it's about openness, curiosity, willingness to learn. Approach each role like it's brand new, like you don't know what's going to happen. No expectations, no assumptions.
Like hitting the reset button in your brain.
Right. It's easy to get stuck, especially as you get better. You think you know how it's going to go, and that limits you.
You become predictable, your jiu-jitsu gets stale.
But the beginner's mind, it's always ready for anything. It lets go of expectations, embraces the unknown. That's where the flow comes from.
So how do we cultivate that on the mat? Any tricks?
A few things. Before you roll, take a deep breath. Let go of any thoughts or worries you're holding on to.
Kind of like cleaning your mental workspace.
Yeah. And then, as you start rolling, approach your partner with curiosity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this person today?
Shifting from proving yourself to being open to learning.
And if you find yourself predicting or falling into old habits, gently bring yourself back to the moment. Enjoy the newness of each interaction, even if you've rolled with this person a million times.
See, every roll is a chance to discover something new. Explore all the possibilities.
That's the wonder, the openness that fuels flow.
So beginner's mind is all about being playful and curious.
And the book says that playfulness is essential for learning and growing. It takes the pressure off, lets you experiment, make mistakes without freaking out.
When you're playing, you're not worried about the outcome, you're enjoying the process.
The book even suggests adding mini games to your flow rolls to keep things fresh, like the yes and challenge. You always accept and build on what your partner does. If they try to sweep you instead of resisting, go with it. See where it leads.
Sounds fun. A good way to practice adapting and being spontaneous.
Another one is inverted function. If you usually dominate, let your partner lead. If you're usually passive, take charge.
I dig that. Getting out of your comfort zone, trying different things.
By playing with those roles, you understand the flow role better as a whole.
You see how leading and following, giving and receiving, attacking and defending, it all fits together.
And that understanding helps you flow better.
Those games sound like a blast. It's like bringing that childlike joy back into jiu-jitsu.
And that's crucial for creativity and flow.
It's remembering why you started training in the first place. The movement, the challenge, the connection.
But there's going to be bumps in the road. The book talks about that too. Even when you're trying your best, there are times when fear, frustration, self-doubt creep in.
Those voices in your head telling you you're not good enough, you're going to fail, you should just quit.
And if those thoughts take over, they kill your flow.
Yeah, you get tense, hesitant, disconnected.
So the book gives you some tools to deal with those mental and emotional roadblocks. One is to just notice them, accept them, don't fight them or push them away, just observe them with curiosity and kindness.
Like you're welcoming them in instead of trying to kick them out.
Exactly. And often that's enough to take away their power.
Like saying, hey, I see you. Fear, I hear you. Self-doubt. But you don't control me.
And once you've acknowledged them, gently bring your attention back to your breath, your body, the present moment.
Shifting from the mental noise to what's actually happening right now.
Another strategy is to see those tough moments as chances to grow. Instead of fear being a weakness, it's a sign you're pushing your limits, expanding your comfort zone.
Embracing the challenge makes you stronger, more resilient.
It's training your mind to be adaptable, to go with the flow even when things get rough. And remember to be patient with yourself. Flow is a journey, not a destination. Some days will be better than others.
Some days you just feel off no matter how hard you try.
It happens. Just keep showing up, keep practicing, trust the process.
Because the more you practice, the easier it gets to find that flow state. And eventually it becomes natural in jiu-jitsu and in life.
Now let's talk about the flow role as an inner mirror. The book really digs into that.
This is where it gets deep. Jiu-jitsu reflecting your mental and emotional state.
Right. The book says how you move on the mat can reveal a lot about your subconscious patterns and beliefs. Someone who's scared of being controlled might always try to dominate their partner.
And someone struggling with self-doubt might be afraid to try new techniques or take risks.
The flow role, with its spontaneity and freedom, it brings those hidden patterns to the surface.
Like your body speaking a language your mind doesn't always understand.
Pay attention to those subtle cues and you learn a lot about yourself.
So the mat's not just for training your body. It's for self-discovery, personal growth.
Approach it with curiosity and compassion. Don't judge yourself. Just observe, learn, and understand.
Because often, just bringing those unconscious patterns into your awareness is enough to start changing them.
And as you become more aware, you can make conscious choices about how you show up on the mat and in life. Jiu-jitsu becomes a tool for personal transformation.
Becoming more present, more adaptable, more aligned with who you really are.
The book also brings back Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that pyramid thing, to explain how those needs influence your jiu-jitsu.
Right, the pyramid with basic survival at the bottom and self-actualization at the top. And the book says you can see those needs playing out on the map.
Totally. Someone stuck in survival mode, they might just focus on winning or not getting hurt. They'll be tense, reactive, not flowing.
And as you move up the pyramid, your motivations change. And that changes how you train.
Someone focused on belonging might be more into collaborating, having a fun flow role.
And someone who's reached self-actualization might use jiu-jitsu as self-expression, a way to explore their creativity and potential.
So the mat becomes a little reflection of life, showing your needs and your growth.
Really interesting way to look at it. It shows how connected our physical, emotional, and mental well-being are.
And then the book goes deep into the mind, asking you to see beyond your thoughts and emotions.
The idea that you're not your thoughts, you're the awareness that's witnessing them.
And Flow Jiu-Jitsu helps you cultivate that awareness. When you're in flow, your mind quiets down, you're totally absorbed in the moment. You get a taste of that pure consciousness beyond thought.
And that awareness starts to spill over into your life off the mat, too.
You're more present, more mindful, less reactive to your thoughts and emotions.
The book also talks about psychological time.
Right, how your thoughts and emotions can warp your perception of time.
We've all been there, time crawling when you're bored or anxious, flying by when you're having fun.
And the book says that's your mind messing with you.
Stuck in the past, regretting stuff, or lost in the future, worrying, and you miss the present moment.
Flow Jiu-Jitsu helps you break free from that mental time travel. When you're fully present on the mat, there's no past, no future, just now.
You step outside of time.
And the more you practice that present moment awareness, the more it becomes a habit in your daily life.
You can really appreciate each moment without getting lost in your head.
So Flow Jiu-Jitsu is not just about mastering the physical techniques. It's about mastering your mind, your emotions, your experience of time.
It's about waking up to life, being fully present in each moment.
And that, the book says, is the ultimate goal of Flow Jiu-Jitsu.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground. From practical exercises to deep philosophy, Flow Jiu-Jitsu has a lot to offer anyone who wants to improve their jiu-jitsu in their life.
We've talked about finding that sweet spot between challenge and skill, setting goals, using feedback, cultivating a beginner's mind, embracing playfulness, reframing challenges as opportunities.
We've explored deep concepts like the silent observer, the illusion of separation, and the realization of pure consciousness.
But the journey's not over. Next time, we'll explore even more practical techniques and exercises for cultivating flow, both in jiu-jitsu and in your everyday life. We'll dive deeper into the silent observer and talk about how to overcome those mental and emotional blocks that get in the way of flow.
Stay tuned. There's more to come. Welcome back to our deep dive on Flow Jiu-Jitsu. Man, we've uncovered so much in this book, from hands-on techniques to some pretty mind-blowing ideas.
Yeah, we've talked about setting the stage for flow, that beginner's mind, and how your jiu-jitsu can be like a mirror showing you what's going on inside.
Right, and we even went deep into flow state itself, like that silent observer thing, and the idea that maybe the separation between you and everything else is, well, an illusion.
So now, in this last part, let's bring it all together. How do we take all this and actually live it? On the mat and off.
The book really hammers this point. Flow Jiu-Jitsu isn't just about being a badass grappler. It's about, like, waking up to who you truly are, pure consciousness.
Exactly. That peace, that freedom, that joy everyone wants, it's not something you got to earn. It's already there, inside you right now.
That's profound stuff, but it can sound kind of vague. How do we actually get to that awareness in our daily lives?
The book's got some practical tips. One is to notice the quiet moments between your thoughts, those little gaps where the mental chatter stops.
Like taking a mental break, coming back to yourself.
Exactly. Don't try to fill those gaps with more thinking. Just be present in the silence. It's like giving your mind some fresh air.
Love that. And the book says to bring that awareness onto the mat, too.
Every time you train, it's a chance to practice. In the middle of a roll, when you feel that frustration, that urge to take control, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, who's feeling this?
You're stepping back from the experience, tapping into that silent observer.
And the more you do it, the easier it gets. You start to see your thoughts and emotions like they're just passing through, not who you really are.
Like you're not your thoughts, you're the one watching them.
Exactly. And that shift can be incredibly freeing. The ego's grip loosens, and you can experience life with more joy, peace, more ease.
The book also talks about how Flow Jiu-Jitsu helps you go beyond the ego. What's that all about?
The ego, that's the part of you that's always comparing, trying to prove something, always wanting control. It's fueled by fear, insecurity, feeling separate.
And that ego, it really kills flow, doesn't it? All that tension and resistance.
For sure. But when you're in flow, the ego chills out. You're not thinking about winning or losing, impressing anyone. You're just present in the moment, moving with your partner.
It's like you tap into a different kind of power, the power of letting go, accepting, connecting.
And that power, it's not just for jiu-jitsu, it's for life. When you stop needing to control everything, you open up to creativity, intuition, flow.
The book even says Flow Jiu-Jitsu can change how you experience time. How does that work?
Think about how our minds mess with our sense of time. We get stuck in the past, regretting things or worrying about the future.
Yeah, all that mental time travel. And you miss what's happening right now.
Exactly. But in flow, time disappears. You're so absorbed in the moment, the past and future vanish. There's just now.
Like stepping outside of time.
The book says practicing flow jiu-jitsu trains your mind to be more present. You dwell less on the past or future and really appreciate each moment as it comes.
So it's not just changing your jiu-jitsu, it's changing your whole experience of life.
The book sums it up perfectly. Flow jiu-jitsu is not just about physical mastery. It's about mastering our minds, our emotions, our perception of time. It's about waking up to the fullness of life, right here, right now.
That's a great way to put it. And it feels like a perfect ending to our deep dive into Flow Jiu-Jitsu. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that flow isn't something only special people can do. It's in all of us, waiting to be unleashed.
And Flow Jiu-Jitsu, with its focus on being present, adapting, connecting, it's a powerful way to wake up to that potential.
It's about remembering who you truly are, beyond all the limitations. It's about tapping into that deep well of wisdom, creativity, and power inside you.
So, to everyone listening, go explore these ideas, try the techniques, and most importantly, have fun. You never know what you might discover.
Keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep flowing.